The ancestors are speaking.
The ancestors are speaking.
So be tapped in.
Tuned in and turned on to your manifestation.
Turned on to your manifestation.
And turned on to your manifestation. Your manifestation.
Peace, love, and light. It is your Galactical Goddess, Cosmic Chameleon, and welcome to another episode with the Galactical Goddesses, Sex and the Condition of Our Relationships. Welcome to America, where we oftentimes use sex to cover up our insecurities, to versus use its full potential in realizing that sex is meant for so much more, and we haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg as it relates to how we can utilize sex and utilize the energy of sex. And I don't just mean physical sex, I mean having healthy relationships, having connections with people, men and women alike. We have to start using these connections that we have with each other to allow our spirit and our mental to be liberated and to expand, and so we can evolve into really tapping into our true potential for being on this planet. So thank you guys for tuning in. We will head right on into it.
Wanna be a boss? Let's talk business. Let's talk fashion. Let's talk health, fitness, community, lifestyle, and finance with Boss Up Houston, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. It's Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
Peace, love, and light. It is your Galactical Goddess. Thank you for tuning in once again for my session, Tantric Soul Sex Sessions. I'll just jump right in. From my experience with having sex, whether it be physically, emotionally, mentally, forming these bonds with people, I formed a lot of positive and negative soul ties, even though I don't like to necessarily think of things as positive and negative, but for the sake of what we're dealing with in today's society, I learned many of my techniques and tools from TV, media, cultural views of what people, said that sex should be, and that didn't work. That was a major fail. Don't do that. Don't learn that way. I discovered that here in America, I can only speak from this space, that it's a lot of abuse of understanding what the whole purpose of sex is. And anytime you use anything outside of its purpose is abuse. Let's have a moment of silence for that. All right. So, but the reality of it is that we oftentimes come into situations not realizing that once you start to interconnect with people, whether it be physically, mostly physically, once you start to interconnect with people, you start to form soul ties with them. Their energy starts to rub off on yours, your energy starts to rub off on theirs, and a lot of times we were not taught or trained, especially in school, to protect our energy properly. And I talk about that a lot in my Manifesting Goddess program. And also when we have Spa Club events, we have, forums where we share how we can protect our energy better, how we can honor ourselves, things like that. But going back to the purpose of this topic, I started to understand that when I was engaging in these relationships with people, that I started to pick up other people's energies, pick up their demonic spirits. They started to pick up mine, and we were feeding off each other. And a lot of times, at first I initially didn't necessarily want to take accountability for the role that I played in a dysfunction until it was just me sitting with me, and she had to be honest with herself. And that was the most liberating aspect of me growing and evolving and realizing that I was definitely misguided, and also believed a lot of lies about, how do we go about having these healthy relationships. And until you tap into your infinite potential, until you start learning who you are, until you start to recognize that your purpose for being here is far beyond anything that you can perceive, it's going to be difficult to maintain these liberating relationships until you first liberate and relieve yourself from all these unresolved past traumatic issues that you've experienced, or that we've all experienced. And so the moral of the story is, tap into trusting your own intuition, tap into getting outside of your comfort zone, getting outside the box, and recognize that you have the potential and you came here for a purpose. So start allowing yourself to live in your purpose, living your passion unapologetically. So one love. We appreciate you for tuning in. I love you. I holla.
Sun salutations and blessed moonbeams. I'm Mayansa T Muse, and welcome to another Divine Rhyming. Now I gotta give you a little history on this poem, okay? First off, you might want to send the kiddies in the other room because this one is for grown folks, okay? I actually wrote this poem when I was booked to perform an erotica poetry feature at a time that I was actually celibate. So what this poem brings proof of is that just because you're celibate, as in not sharing sexual energy with others, doesn't mean that you can't have a sex life. Intimacy with self is actually vital. It's essential because your sexual energy and your spiritual energy are actually one and the same. It's just a matter of where you channel it. You take my meaning? But anyways, I wrote something sexual about something that actually wasn't. And it's called Mighty High. My salute to the peace pipe. I said I'm mighty high. My, oh my. I think your beard tickles. Can I load the bowl? I long to laugh from the yoni of my soul. I hope you tickle me deep. Just a few thoughts that creep in my mind when I lose a little bit of control. I'm mighty high. My, oh my. I smile where my sphinx glows. I rustle your leaves and rustle the trees and flick my beak to bring fire to your leaves before every king should be a master-minded knowledge goddess neuter on her knees, bending over, grabbing her ankles and creating sunrises and sunsets where the stars dance in between. Speaking in tongues, singing melodies sweetly sung, simultaneously stimulating both brains, manifesting blissful love to gain. Wait like that kettle corn, let's not go mid-grade. I'm mighty high. My, oh my. I'm mighty high and open to the core, not quite on the stratosphere. I'll give, but I need a little more. Gently wrap my lips around, try not to make a sound when I take a hard pull. You spark shock to my head, sage to the sky, a journey to the stars. With pipes of this power, who needs cheap cigars? I'm mighty high, my oh my. The beard tickles, please load the bowl. Thank you for clearing my writer's block. Now back to spilling the thoughts on my soul. Ion City Muse. Keep your third eye over your sacral. I was talking about smoking a pipe and writing a poem. Y'all nasty.
Elevation energies. It's your goddess Karamoko, back again with another libations and information, gods and goddesses past and present. Now we've already honored the element of earth, the element of air, and the element of water. Today we're going to show you the element of fire. So what better way to do that than to show you how to use ancestor money. Now today's episode is all about relationships. And relationships are important with others. Relationships with yourself, even more important. But what about your relationships with your ancestors? So what we have here is joss paper, also known as ancestor money. And its use is very important. So most people have poor relationships with money, right? Well, your ancestors may have had that same relationship. It's very important that you are able to honor your ancestors now that they may have a better relationship in the spirit. So what do I mean by that? If you have a relationship of debt in your family, your ancestors still carry that with them, and they may have passed that on to you. Ancestor money is a symbolic representation in this realm that allows you to pay those debts in the other realm. So it can look like this, or even something like this. So basically what you do is you bring the element of fire into your practice, and you can fold the ancestor money, and with it you put your intentions of freeing your ancestors from their debts on this realm and giving them the currency they need in order to operate on the other. So with this money I may burn in order to free my ancestor from a debt. So you burn the money and place it into a non-burnable cauldron or cistern. And in doing so, you provide your ancestors with the currency that they need in the spiritual realm so that they can assist you here in this realm. So I didn't give you guys a whole lot about gods and goddesses because remember, you are the gods, you are the goddesses, and you are here from the past and the present. Blessings.
All right, welcome back. This is your goddess Nicole here, and I wanted to share a little, just something small with you today. We're talking on this particular show, we're talking about sex and the condition of our relationships. If you notice, around this time, well, not even now, over the past maybe like 50, 60, 100 years, the topic of sex is kind of being brought out a little bit more prevalent. Even now, it's a little bit more out there. It's a lot of music about it. You can do poetry, you can dress certain ways and different things that promote a lot of more sexual content. But I would just wanted to encourage everyone that along with sex and sexual things also comes with responsibility. So let me show you what that means. So this is a dirty, used shoe walking around outside all over the place, right? So this is something that I really like. It's crawfish mac and cheese, right? from one of the famous restaurants here in Houston. I'm not going to say their name, but we're going to use it anyways. So look at this. Look at that. So this, let me ask you a question. Would you eat that if I presented it to you this way? No matter how much I told you this was some of the most delicious crawfish mac and cheese. It's perfectly seasoned. Everything about it is just so amazing. It's buttery. It's warm. It's just delicious. Would you eat it? No, you wouldn't. This is what we present when we engage in sexual activities, conversations, all of those different things that we are not honestly prepared for. So it's like you present something to somebody and you're expecting them to like it, but it's served on something that is really not supposed to be used for. You're going to hear us also talk about abuse, the abnormal use of something. This good thing is being presented in an abnormal way. And that's something that I would really like to encourage all of us to get some more education on before we engage in that kind of activity. I'm not gonna, try to give you a hard time about it, because you are grown, you are an adult, and I cannot tell you what to do. But just think about this as a reminder, when you present something that is good in an abnormal way, it's still not going to be used to the best of what it's supposed to be used for. So I just wanted to encourage you in that, okay? So you stay tuned and just see what else we have for you on our great show today.
And we're back. Welcome to this rather heated edition of Galactical Goddesses. I am Mayansa T. Muse, and we are having a discussion on the Uchiwali. Sex. Yes, I said it. Sex. The condition of it and how it affects our relationships. So there's a lot of different ways that this can go. So I'm going to get myself off the hook here, and I'm going to pass the baton to Cosmic Chameleon. So, the tag, you're in.
Thank you. You're too kind. Okay. Before we get into some of the questions that we received from some of the audience members, some of our loyal goddess and gods, I don't like to use the word fans, but I like to use family tribe members. Asheo. I want to share a little bit about how we came up with the topic of this discussion, and how dire and important it is right now for us to start getting our relationships and the condition of our relationships to a space where we are all seeking purpose and allowing our passions to guide us. Because growing up, I was very uncomfortable, and that is probably why I distracted. Thank you for calling me out. I was very uncomfortable talking about sex, and so my initial sexual experiences was very uncomfortable and pretty much probably traumatic. But yeah, sounds about right.
Mine was most definitely.
Yeah, and so I think this taboo topic, we need to address it. We need to break the ice. We need to break the barrier, because many souls need to be freed from this bondage, this guilt and the shame that we feel surrounding this topic that is basically the core of our essence of how we even got to this planet. And so thank you for calling me out.
Well,
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me. All the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex.
All right.
Let's talk about sex. Okay, but seriously, our ethnic group is because when we were released, when we were granted our freedom, we didn't have mental health institutions. We didn't have spiritualists that got us out of the mentality of being bucks and breeders. So let's start there.
Yeah.
And when you're forced to only operate from your lower energy because you're treated like an animal with no right to your sexual essence. And then that passes from generation to generation. That's how you get elderly men that teach the young boys, knock as many down as you can. But then when the woman knock him down and railroad him, then we got a problem. You see what I'm saying?
And then those same ideas are reinforced in our media, in our music.
Exactly.
And so when you see it in front of you all day and your lower self says, hey, this is what you're about, why not continue the cycle?
Exactly. But see, women, we're not off the hook either. Because, it's been some grandmas that teach people that a wet pea and an empty wallet don't make sense. Well, why didn't you just put your daughter in 6 inches and stand her on the street corner?
Sure do.
You see what I'm saying?
All you got to do is wrench around and wrench it out. Just wrench around.
So first we have to understand that our sexual energy and our spiritual energy is one and the same. You have channels that you have to channel that through. Exactly, the chakras. Because I really had to ask for a lot of forgiveness and my judgment of clergymen. Because I'm like, why do pastors get so many panties thrown at them? Why? Because they're in that higher energy and they're in that power.
Yes.
And then having become a priestess in a spirituality myself, my Lord, you last episode you really snitched on me.
I'm saying they get thrown because they can sense that energy. I mean, when men do it, that whole retention thing. I mean, King and I, we play around with that, and baby,
life.
That's
life.
Holding back your ejaculation,
It's
your
the
life
life
force
force.
energy, so it can come back up and you can utilize that energy towards more constructive and productive things. We'll come back to that another day.
that's more people. Yeah.
But see, and participating in sex is the part of us that is God, because that's why you have to connect genitals to create a baby. You see what I'm saying?
Specifically, it's the life force that you're sharing. Yo, nasty. But more specifically, what you're saying, connecting of genitals, that's your life force energy. That's the creative force. That whole point of sex is creation. And so that act, that is the spark that brought forth us.
Exactly.
And the abuse and misuse of that creation is a bad thing.
It's a setup.
It's horrible because what it does is that it inverts your energy. When your innocence is tampered with before you even know what it is, you're already set on a down spiral. And those that had us enslaved for a while, they knew that. And that's why they bred us as animals.
I also wanted to add is this is why education is so important. Learning about history, learning about all of these different things. I too was brought up the same way, especially being a woman with curves. It's like, if you have that, it's like
you up the song.
You want it. Clearly, you look that way, so you want me. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
So the thing is about, just learning more about, I also realized things about myself. I was never really sexually free because I was not raised that way. I was always raised to just
cover up,
keep
shrink.
Everything and shrink back. So
that is you. I would just ashamed of the power of your womb.
Encourage everyone. Learn, read a book, read an article, read something. Sex is not supposed to be something that is nasty or make you feel uncomfortable. It's supposed to be empowering experience. And if you have always felt like you're getting with partners who is making you feel that way, or you feel that way within yourself, it's not supposed to be that way, and it's not supposed to be used as a bargaining tool. It's not a form of commerce.
Your cooch is not your 401k. Okay?
It's not. It is not. Let's be real now.
So all I'm saying is just educate yourself. I think that is one of the hardest things and stop listening to other people. Everybody always has something to say. Just stop that. Educate yourself.
Exactly.
Okay. So one of the questions that I wanted to put, that one of the tribe members asked, if you are in a relationship and you and your partner, one of your partners steps out, what do you do to resolve that situation? And how is that damaging, or do you just get past it, or what do you do?
Decide.
Yeah.
Decide. Because see, here's the thing. We're all trapped into these, cookie cutter trajectories of relationships. Okay? Now let's just be honest. Some men are not one woman men.
True.
Some women are not one man women. It's just, people need to decide what they can and cannot deal with.
Right.
Okay? Because, I get this question a lot when I'm doing my love readings. And I tell them, only you can decide whether the time you got with them to the moment you ran into this wall, that whether or not it's worth it. I can only lay out what I see and give you an assessment and give you the clarity to make your own decision. Now, this person, whoever this tribe member is, you have to decide whether or not this is worth keeping, because it isn't so much that the person stepped out. What was the course of events that led up to the stepping out? Okay? Did he step out because he's being greedy? Or did he step out because he feels starved of something?
Right.
Okay? Does he not feel like he's good enough for you? Is he trying to tell you that he needs some space? So assess, get the full truth as to why it happened, and then make a decision that protects your energy.
And I would add to that, don't take it personally. So
Exactly.
of the four agreements, right? Whoever did that stepping out, they got something going on with them that they don't have the integrity to be able to honor a monogamous. Now, I don't know what y'all set up in the first place.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If you set it up, that is okay.
Agreement, intention,
It's an agreement. That's what you agreed to.
And
So
one more thing I wanted to add was that a relationship can heal from anything, but two people have to be willing to participate in that healing.
Exactly.
If one person is doing it and the other person refuses to do it, leave them, because it's going to be two things pulling in opposite directions. It will never be able to come together again. So if you feel like you can't get past that, both of you have to work with each other to trust each other again, or it has to be accountability. It just can't be just sorry.
Yeah.
That's
no.
not how
they're
it
going
works.
past that. You got to be really past it. You can't keep bringing it up.
Exactly.
You got to deal with the scars and let them heal.
Exactly. I agree.
Another question that they suggested or they threw out to me was, do you guys think that a person or a relationship going from monogamy to going into polygamy, can that work?
Only if the traditions are truly honored. Because it's a lot of bootleg, pimping, polygyny out here that has nothing to do with honoring the native customs. Having 4 or 5 baby mamas and they all taking care of you was not polygyny.
Not the same thing.
That's trash. That's
There's a
garbage.
difference
There's a difference.
There's a difference between polygamy and polyandry. Like when you got more people that you love and you looking after them, and more people that you with. There's a big difference. But I love the idea of the HBIC. You got the axe number 1 if you could have a number 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
You took the thought right out of my head. Because I was about to say, if that's what they do.
Communication and honesty is imperative.
Right.
Yes.
And I also wanted to add one thing. Make sure that whatever situations, I don't believe in polygamy, because I always think deep down it's gonna be some form of animosity or resentment somewhere. We can get into that. That's a whole nother topic, but that's just what I think. Yeah, but I think eventually, somehow, somewhere, it's gonna be a problem somehow. But
I agree.
if you choose to do that, just make sure that everybody who chooses to be involved in that situation is in the same boat and they are truly happy and not harboring any bitterness.
Right. Exactly. Man, let me add a point to that just real quick. Because, see, the reason why polygyny worked in the ancient times was because marriage was not about Roman antics. Marriage was not about romance.
Contracts.
It wasn't you belong to me.
Possession.
No.
Demonic.
You knew who your husband was as a child because y'all grew up as friends. It was about the universal love of the village. So, of course, the little girl gonna say, well, you can't marry me unless you marry my friends, because you ain't marry my friends without no husband. It wasn't about no menage a trois. It wasn't about owning anybody. It was about the love of the village. And we have lost that. So you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
We have more roaming antics to get rid of before we can really entertain polygyny.
just got through watching a great show on Boss Up Houston Network. Have you heard? They're bossing up, okay? And I heard they're looking for you. Any podcasters, talk show hosts, if you're a writer or producer, we definitely need you. Come aboard and boss up.
Are you a small business owner that is struggling to promote your company?
Our topic today is, what's your status?
Shoot the dice at this point.
You just shoot the dice, roll the dice.
So,
Yes.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's attorneys.
I love it. Imagine being televised on a national platform. How about being a host or sponsor on a syndicated podcast? Or being featured on exclusive promotions and interview for your product to your ideal customer? Hi, I'm Kayla Sneed, and I'm head of sales with Boss Up Houston. And here at Boss Up, we like to help small business owners and entrepreneurs advertise, promote, or become a sponsor for one of our television, podcast, or radio shows. All you have to do is click the link down below to see if you qualify. I'll be seeing you soon.
This is Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
And so I just pretty much want to wrap it up. It's a beautiful thing to be cared for. It's a beautiful thing to have a relationship where you both genuinely, truly care about each other, and that relationship is built upon not only spiritual growth, spiritual and emotional evolution, and understanding that a true, genuine relationship takes trust, honesty, integrity, all these divine rights of the spirit that you have to work for and work towards if you genuinely want to come here and pursue your purpose for being on the planet. And so first, it must first start inside yourself, all these beautiful characteristics of the spirit. And so I encourage all you guys to work on yourself, get your inside, get your number one player together first before you start seeking or wanting someone else to complete you. You have to be 100 with you. Facts. I shall. Peace and love. Gang, 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 gang.
So thank you all for joining us for another beautiful episode of Galactic Goddesses. We pray that you have beautiful relationships with your tribe and with yourself.
Yes.
Ashe.
Asheo, asheo.
The ancestors are speaking.
The ancestors are speaking.
So be tapped in.
Tuned in and turned on to your manifestation.
Turned on to your manifestation.
And turned on in your manifestation. Your manifestation.